Then we move over to Abdullah, the CEO of Afghanistan. We often hear a lot of the challenging stories around Afghanistan. And there is, of course, a lot of challenges, but sometimes we forget that since the early 2000s, 4 million girls have been educated. There is a lot of newspapers, TV channels. We see also the life expectancy has increased quite substantially. But still, what is holding the country back is, of course, the security situation. And you yourself has also seen this very closely. No, there are negotiations or talks, I would say, under the leadership of also Ambassador Khalilzad of the US with the Dove office of Taliban. And also there is no talk about making a peace deal here. It would be very interesting, Mr. Abdullah, to hear, is this realistic, and are you supportive of this US undertaking, or do you think this is happening too much not including the elected government in Kabul?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, thank you. Yeah, the country has been at war for 40 years now, 4-0. And that shows the urgency of making efforts towards achieving peace. So that's the view of majority of the people of Afghanistan, which are supportive of the efforts for achieving peace. Recently, in the past few months, the United States has re-energized its efforts. Big deal by appointing Ambassador Khalilzad as their special envoy. And he has made a lot of journeys to different parts of the region, as well as contacts with the Taliban, talks to the Taliban. As a whole, we are supportive of those efforts. He has spent more times with the Taliban because they are the challenge. They are the one that are the obstacle towards achieving peace. He was in Kabul just a few days ago. He has made progress in one area, which is Taliban assuring everybody in giving guarantees that they will not going to maintain contacts with Al-Qaeda or any other terrorist group, which is a positive development because that was the root cause of the problem at the beginning, the presence of thousands of terrorists from all around the world in Afghanistan, and Taliban relying on their support and them relying on Taliban support, and then posing a serious challenge to the people of Afghanistan. There is another side to that, which is Taliban have not agreed so far to talk to the government of Afghanistan, and the US position has been that Taliban, there will be no agreement with Taliban on other issues unless they sit with the inclusive team from Afghanistan, which is the government of Afghanistan and other political parties represented. So we are supportive of those efforts, and how optimistic I am, how pessimistic I am, we will not lose hope. And at the same time, we are not making any mistake in judging the sense of the people of Afghanistan, which they want to see peace in their country, but at the same time, they don't want to give up on the achievements that they have, which part of it yourself mentioned. Citizens' rights, human rights and women's rights, freedom of speech, choosing your own leaders through elections, civil society, very vibrant civil society, private sector development, peaceful coexistence within and without. And these are the achievements of the people. And durable peace will only be achieved once we sit together and we come to an understanding on those main principles.
Do you think Taliban in the negotiations will comply with those values and principles? And secondly, if there is a deal with Taliban and the Pashtuns, can we see a situation where there are other groups in Afghanistan that also will not be satisfied? Because sometimes it is forgotten how the multi-ethnicity of Afghanistan when this is discussed, especially in the West, I think.
Yes, any real peace deal will have to take into account the pluralistic aspect of the society and multi-ethnic nature of our nation, and also should emphasize on the principles, on those achievements, because those achievements are for everybody. From the furthest part of the country, east, south, west, north, central Afghanistan, the people would like their children to be educated properly, boys and girls. The rights of the people should be respected. So it will not be realistic if we give up on those rights, and also peace will not be achievable if part of the society are marginalized. That's why, personally, I've emphasized to our leaders in the government and outside the government that we should present a unified voice of the people, which reflects the aspirations of majority of the people, which are for durable and dignified peace for everybody. When Taliban join peace, it should be dignified for them as well. So exclusion will not work, whether it is on any basis. So it has to be inclusive. Whether Taliban will comply or not, their record is not. Their record is poor, to say the least. Sometimes they say that all these things are propaganda, the abuse of human rights and so on and so forth, or women's rights. And sometimes they say, I remember this 20 years back, and some of them, while talking to the Taliban directly, but some of the things which happened very recently also, that was resonation of the same thing. In a negotiations which took place in Uzbekistan, Taliban representatives said that all these things about human rights and women's rights are propaganda against us. The world needs to learn from us about the human rights and women's rights. And we have an opposition. At that time, Taliban were in Kabul, in control of like 80% of the country. That was before September 11th. If the world want to establish peace, they should disarm our opposition. Yeah. Some of their comments resonates those things, but hopefully they will see the fact that by continuation of the war, only our people suffer and we miss opportunities.
Thank you.
Daesh is located in parts of the country, and they have lost lots of their leaders, and still they control a small territory, but nevertheless, it's a challenge. Still, Daesh is a challenge. The situation around Afghanistan, the neighborhood, South Asia, Central Asia, Iran, Russia, all these situations have an impact on our situation. But we hope that we will be able to bring enough coherence and understanding in the region that these groups developing in our part of the world is a threat to others as well. It's not just to us. And in dealing with them and also in supporting the peace process, everybody has a stake. Only to just briefly touch upon one aspect of the situation.
Very briefly.
Connectivity with Central Asia has improved many folds through roads, railways, and fiber optics, and so on and so forth in the past few years. Imagine if there is peace there, the whole region will flourish.
Yes. Thank you so much.